quite frankly, this just isn't a video I want to make, so I apologize ahead of time. There's definitely a lot of emotion and frustration in the beginning, and quite frankly, it's going to be extremely anticlimactic. So here you go.
I mean, you can find them.
Yup. Oops. The entire car is covered in fluid. So we had an issue, I've already taken this off, where the trans cooler has disconnected and dumped all of the transmission fluid, and maybe in the process burning up the transmission. So I'm going to get these lines reconnected, and hopefully I still have a transmission, because this sucks. The entire underside of the car is covered in transmission fluid. I'm sure there's probably not even a drop left of trans fluid in there. But I'm hoping that the pump didn't burn up. I don't know how transmissions work specifically, but I'm assuming there's a pump in there. But I guess we'll just find out. Honestly, kind of over this car at this point, but got those lines rehooked up, and I've got 8 quarts here and another 2.5 in there, so hopefully that'll be enough to figure out if the trans is toast or not. When it was running out of fluid, it just kind of went into a limp mode, basically no gear selected. So I'm really doubting there's any damage, but it's really anybody's guess with how fragile these things are. But I was just driving along. I mean, the entire day I hadn't even gone over maybe 3,000 RPM, and then all of a sudden line pops off, which is weird because I would have thought if the line was going to pop off, it would have been at 6,000 RPM when I'm doing data logs, which I don't know, super weird. But it's been 95 and humid. I've been moving these last few days, and exactly what I wanted: get the car moved over to the new house and have the transmission not work for me. 9 quarts of nothing but the finest. I hope it just starts, honestly, because it's been sitting for a day and a half. Well, the trans cooler itself broke, so I'm assuming there's some sort of failure in there now. So, got a bunch of fluid on the ground, gonna get some kitty litter, and sorry neighbors, but geez. I'm seriously beyond done with this car. It's literally gonna get parted out. So, cooler broken. Have to hook up the original one. Just transmission fluid everywhere. I mean, it's absolutely everywhere. I'm gonna pull it into the garage. It's gonna get even more everywhere because it's completely soaking everything. And this is gonna be the last startup for her, honestly. So I just don't even know what to say anymore. Like, it's completely soaked in transmission fluid, and she's getting parted out, man. I'm over it. Well, probably one of the last starts the car will do as far as the engine in this car, but hopefully we got enough juice to start it. And then hopefully the transmission even moves. I should probably check to make sure the cooler isn't leaking like the other one. Hopefully she moves. So it's been 9 days since the line popped off the trans cooler and the trans dumped all the fluid. And I had to have the car towed home, as you can see in the beginning of the video. But it has gotten to the point where I don't believe that I can financially or mentally continue this journey. I've already sold basically the entire drivetrain out of the car. The issue is I am basically at the point where a transmission rebuild and upgrade while waiting for those Raybestos clutches just doesn't financially make sense for me, because I just bought a house. So I just did big down payment. I've got bills and some modernization I want to do to the home. So trans will need rebuilt at some point. It pulled into the garage. I had to hook up this trans cooler because this one's actually broken. I mean, it's leaking fluid from the core. And then not soon after, I'd want to do a head build. So we're talking about several $1,000s between the transmission and the heads, and we're not talking like $2,000 or $3,000. We're talking like $7,000 or $8,000 when everything's all said and done. And I was talking with my insurance agent, who's a very good friend of mine, about putting collector car insurance on this car. And we actually got some of the paperwork done and whatnot for it, and he asked me, what is a value of the car that if it was completely totaled beyond any recognition that you would be okay with getting? Because that's what they do with collector car insurance. It's a specific value for the car. And I said, if this car disappeared off the face of the earth and I couldn't find it, how much would I take for it? And I said $18,000. And I wouldn't shed a single tear. The next day it leaves me stranded, and I'm starting to see dollar signs all over again. So, being so fed up with the car, as you could tell emotionally in the beginning of the video, I just wasn't excited about anything about the car in that moment. And I got to adding up the numbers on all of the parts that I have for the car and decided that I'm close enough to that $18,000 figure that I'm okay with parting out the car. The engine's in perfect condition. There is no better time than now to move on to something else. And I know that this is going to disappoint a lot of you guys, and I'm sorry. But it's not about what everyone else wants. It's about what I want. So I've decided to pull the plug. I don't want to rebuild the transmission. I don't want to build the heads. The car is in the best condition that it can be to get the most amount of money out for myself and move on to something else that I'll be a little bit more happy with. And that's what it's ultimately about. It's about me being happy. I will tell you guys, however, there are some parts going to some key people in the community. The Gen 3R turbos are going to 802 SHO. That's Andrew Bullock. He's the platform record holder. And he's going to continue pushing on. He's got an insane build going that is a step above mine. It's just that mine ran before his, so I got a little bit of hype because of that. But he is going to absolutely smash things. He's doing a wide body on his SHO. He's got a ton of cool stuff going on. I'll link his channel in the description down below. And if you want to kind of continue the legacy on his channel, then so be it. And then the engine is going to Massachusetts, and a majority of the other parts is going to St. Louis to a buddy of mine. I don't know if he wants his name out there, so I am not going to put it out there. And then we got a few other things going in other directions, and some parts going to Canada to another buddy of mine. So I am super thankful that a lot of the parts are going to people that I know who will use them and abuse them and appreciate them and maximize the capability of what I already was trying to do. So with all of that being said, I will have a roller. I have not decided what I want to do with it. I have toyed with the idea of tossing a Coyote swap in it and doing pure rear-wheel drive, but I'm not gonna say that that's 100% plan, because honestly that's a lot of money in fabrication. albeit it wouldn't be something that I'm in any rush for to do. So there is that. However, I have toyed with the idea of just getting, like a regular cab short bed truck and doing a kind of mild Coyote build on that. Or who knows, I might even get a Hell Kitty. But unfortunately, this engine will not start again in this car. And quite frankly, I hate to say it, but this is the end of the show.
$11.08, 126.